Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a review of the Artisan Key83, aka the Rokkaku, another mousepad from Artisan's 2024 lineup that is set to release soon. And unlike the Type 99, which is a smooth cloth control pad, this is another one of Artisan's textured pads, similar to the Hien and Hayate otsu. I do want to give a quick shout out to Stubby FPS for letting me use his photos. I'll put a link to all of his stuff below. But yeah, that gives you an idea of the weave super close up. But from just a surface level view with your eyes, you can see a hexagonal pattern in the mouse pad, and that is what Rokkaku means in Japanese, hexagonal. So this is a little language lesson as well. And what this pad is more or less advertised as, do I still have Artisan sheet behind me? I do. Things don't really change around here. They advertise this as minimal X and Y axis difference in good first games where there's a lot of vertical movements. Fortnite is, of course, one of those. And yeah, this is really something that I consider to be one of the top textured mouse pads that is going to be available. I've had a good amount of time to test this mouse pad, like over 3 months. I've had all of the hardnesses, Xsoft, mid, and soft, and I would say I've put 75% of my time on the soft, and that's just, I've accepted that Artisan Soft is the best to me. It is the best of both worlds, and obviously part of the beauty of Artisan is that they have the multiple hardnesses, so it's obviously up to you to experiment, determine what is your preference, but I know my preference after just a lot of time. I can explain it. With mid, it's not commonly known, it's kind of commonly known that mid Artisan mousepads are 1mm thinner than the soft and Xsoft variants, coming in at 3mm, and especially with the textured pads like the Hien, Otsu, and Key83, the mid variant, it just feels almost like a plastic pad. There is just absolutely no give in the surface. So yeah, you can see this is the mid. The surface just really has no give whatsoever. And then we go back to the soft, and then there's just a good amount of plushiness, but it's like Xsoft. I just feel there's too much in some situations, especially if I'm using dot skates, a heavier mouse, even just a lighter mouse and applying more pressure. I just prefer that feeling on an Artisan Soft mousepad. But yeah, in terms of just comfort, having the nicest feeling mousepad on your arm, I would say the Xsoft is the best, followed by soft, and then mid is of course going to be not abrasive, but it's just going to be the most rough version of the surface. So yeah, compared to the Hien, it's definitely not as much of a textured feeling, but it's 100% still there. This is not smoothed out. A pad that I do feel like is significantly smoother, it might just be how some people are imagining the Key83, is the Lethal Gaming Gear Neptune Pro. I actually just got this in yesterday, and it's both significantly smoother and quicker than the Key83. So yeah, I did just want to quickly clarify that, but what I mostly see the Key83 as is some type of a alternative Hien for people who maybe were not a big fan of the X and Y difference, which is honestly something that I just like got adjusted to. Even when I make like motions on the Z axis, I just don't feel like anything holding me back. But the Key83 is going to not have no X and Y difference, but it is going to be minimal compared to the Hien, and just, it's a pad made with that in mind. And alongside that, I would say the static friction is just ever so slightly higher than both the Hien and the Hayate otsu. That is just my testing with the skate combos that I've used, so that might vary a bit, but I really doubt this is under any circumstances going to have lower static than the Hien. Another thing to mention with the Key83 that I really like is that it replicates the feeling of the texture of the mousepad on your mouse skates, like a grazing sensation when you swipe your mouse across the pad. It's a very minor thing, but it's just a quirk that I really like on textured pads, and I feel like it just adds an element of easier stopping power. This will obviously depend on the skates that you have. Let's say with like the Razer Viper V3 Pro stock skates, these just like take away the texture of every pad. They still have like a decent amount of speed and glide to them, but they don't pick up any of the texture, so in my opinion, it's just a noticeably worse experience than the core pads. But whatever you throw on, whether it be like core pads, Tiger Ice, Jades, just any high quality PTFE option that will really bring the texture to life and make the most out of the pad. So yeah, in general, just broad terms, speed-wise, I would say this is a tick down from the Hien in terms of speed, but it doesn't have significantly more stopping power in my experience, and it just is more consistent across the board in terms of X and Y difference. Again, that's a quirk that I kind of like. I just like the Hien as it is, but I have no problem with the Key83. It's definitely in my like upper echelon of pads, but it's just still more or less just an Artisan hybrid pad. So if you are used to that speed, the texture profile, I don't think this will be anything like out of the ordinary for you. I think a lot of people are going to like this pad, but I don't think it will be as successful as the Type 99, let's say, because people have just really wanted a control pad from Artisan. Meanwhile, people already have hybrid options. And yeah, this is just another one. It's obviously a premium option, and I do have plenty more to say about it. Quality-wise, there's really nothing. This is the XL, or the XXL size. My apologies, 500 by 490, so it is the XL square. There's not really a single thing to note about the stitching or the quality of the pour-on. With the Xsoft variant, it obviously does have its differences, but I just feel it's very similar to a Hayate Otsu Xsoft, just in all across the board, because the texture, I mean, it kind of just blends together with how soft the mousepad feels like when you're actually using it in game. But yeah, just with the plushiness and the speed, it really just reminds me of the Hayate Otsu Xsoft. So if that's something you're familiar with, you might enjoy the Key83 Xsoft. And yeah, with the mid, as is the case for all of Artisan's textured pads, this is just like extremely firm. The texture is more intense, the speed is higher, so if you really are a fan, you just want absolutely no plushiness, then go for the mid, and you'll get, like, I guess, the texture in its purest form. But for me, the Key83 Soft is definitely just a top pad, one of my favorites to use in Fortnite. I didn't, like, notice it. If you give me a week on any of the Elite Artisan pads, I'll just be like, okay, this is fine, this is a perfect mousepad experience. And yeah, really, I think that's, like, the best praise I can give to a mousepad. It just does its job. It is a canvas for me to move my mouse on, and it fits my preferences. Like I said, it's like, it might be kind of oversaturated for Artisan's lineup. They technically have the Hayate Ku as well, but that is really, in my opinion, just the worst Artisan mousepad. But yeah, this is another option that some people might prefer over the other ones. It certainly still has enough speed to be considered a speed pad, but I just don't think it's like uncontrollably fast, especially if you have prior experience on textured pads. So yeah, I know when this releases, a lot of people are going to ask me, like, should I get the Otsu or the Key83? And it's like, I honestly don't know. It's just like, it's a toss-up. You won't know what you're going to prefer until you have it in hand. And again, just in broad terms, the texture doesn't feel as premium on your arm as the Hayate Otsu. It doesn't feel quite as abrasive as the Hien, even though after putting months of time and just really thinking, I would say this is more closely related to like the Hien than the Otsu. And again, the Neptune Pro and the Key83 don't share many similarities. I'll have a full review of the Neptune Pro out soon as well, but it's just, in my experience, significantly faster than the Key83. And really the only similarity I notice is that these are new mouse pads from the respective companies, so I understand why people are interested in how they stack up. And yeah, really, as an Artisan Hien disciple, that was my first pad. That is still, my opinion, the top pad in the Artisan lineup. This is something that I can approve of, and it's really, like I said, I just have no problems with it. I could use it as my main mouse pad forever, but at the same time, it just didn't like wow me. It didn't blow me away. It was just pretty much what I expected. Another elite textured pad from Artisan. So really, I hope I did a good enough job of explaining. I would say the y-axis, it is ever so slightly smoother feeling than the x-axis, and obviously your perception of that will be affected by the shape of your skates, the amount of pressure you put, etc., mostly etc. And I really don't want it to seem like I'm overhyping this pad, because again, if you've used a Hien or a Hayate Otsu, it's 1000% possible that you'll prefer this, possibly even play better on it. But I'm not just gonna, like, as a blanket statement, say that this is the hybrid pad to beat from Artisan, like it's the #1 by a large margin. Not really, but for me, playing Fortnite, a game where there is a ton of like vertical movement, especially with building and editing, it just felt very nice. And again, I don't really have anything to complain about. It's obviously going to get the seal of approval. Quality wise, just excellent. It's not even worth talking about in Artisan videos at this point. They just have it figured out. I hope that this pad does get released soon. I'm under the impression, like, a month to 6 weeks from the time of posting this video, the mousepad should be available. So yeah, hopefully people can get their hands on it and do enjoy it. And yeah, I just want to quickly show what the pad looks like in terms of like dust, dirt accumulation. There's a little bit of stuff. I'm sure I could just wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. Obviously, the pad has not slowed down in any type of way. I don't remember it having like any type of massive break-in. There's probably something minor. And yeah, this is Artisan's first pad to release using the conductive thread, so these promise to be even like better with humidity, lack of static buildup. And yeah, again, once again, similar to many other aspects of this pad, just no complaints. So yeah, if you have any other questions about the Key83 or want a comparison to another pad, just any specific questions, let me know in the comments below. But that's going to be all for this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Pretty shocking stuff. Artisan Mousepad. Peace out.